Ladies, let me tell you something. You don't need dark psychology. You need real psychology, the kind that works, because it comes from confidence, not manipulation. A man doesn't fall in love because you trick him. A man falls in love because you show up as the woman he can't replace. So let me give you 5 powerful mindset shifts that feel like dark psychology, but they're actually just the truth most people never learn. Yedden. Don't chase him, make him come toward you. Women think giving a man everything will make him stay. No, men fall for a woman who respects her time, her peace, and her standards. Pull your energy back a little. Watch how he starts leaning in. Most women grow up believing that if they care more, give more, and show more effort, the man will naturally respond with the same level of affection. But in reality, attraction doesn't work like that. Men don't fall in love because someone chases them, showers them with attention, or rearranges their entire life to fit into his. Men fall in love when they feel the desire to move toward a woman on their own. This is the part most women never understand, and it's why so many end up exhausted, confused, and heartbroken. When you stop chasing, you create space. Space creates curiosity. Curiosity builds attraction. Attraction turns into real interest. And interest is what makes a man choose you, not convenience or comfort or because you gave him everything too soon. When a woman chases a man, she flips the natural energy of the relationship. She's doing all the emotional labor, all the calling, all the worrying, all the planning. The man doesn't have to invest because she is doing it for him. And what a man doesn't invest in, he rarely values. He may enjoy the attention, he may like the validation, he may even stay around for the comfort, but he won't feel that deep, lasting pull toward her. Men fall hardest for the woman they feel they must rise toward, not the one who convinces them or carries the whole connection on her shoulders. When you stop overgiving and start matching energy, you shift the dynamic without saying a single word. Suddenly he notices the things he used to take for granted. He realizes you aren't waiting by your phone. He realizes you have options, a life, confidence, and that he could lose you if he doesn't step up. That feeling of potentially losing something valuable wakes a man up fast. Men don't chase women who are desperate for their attention. They chase women who are selective with it. When your attention becomes a privilege instead of a guarantee, he becomes aware of its value. This isn't about playing games or being cold. It's about understanding your worth and protecting it. When you respect your own time and energy, you naturally behave in a way that makes a man want to invest. You reply when you're able, not instantly out of anxiety. You make plans that fit your schedule, not by sacrificing everything to make him comfortable. You give effort to the relationship only when he gives effort too. You show affection, but not more than he's giving. And without even realizing it, he starts leaning in. Because men are wired to pursue what feels meaningful, not what feels easy. A man feels more connected to a woman he has to work for, not because she makes it difficult, but because she maintains her boundaries. The moment he senses that you love your life, your peace, your goals, and your happiness as much as you want a relationship, he sees you differently. He sees you as an equal, not someone depending on him emotionally. He sees someone he must earn, not someone he can simply take. And earning a woman is what makes a man fall in love with her. When you stop chasing, you stop shrinking yourself, you stop over-explaining, you stop waiting, you stop proving. Instead, you allow him the space to show you who he is and how much he values your presence. And that shift, that calm, confident energy is what pulls a man in more powerfully than any words, any tricks, or any forced effort ever could. 2, be unpredictable in a classy way. A man's mind loves curiosity, not drama, not chaos curiosity. Stop telling him everything about you in the first week. Keep layers, keep mystery. Let him discover you, not download you. There is something deeply magnetic about a woman who carries a little mystery with her. Not the kind of mystery created by silence or distance, but the kind that comes from having depth, layers, and a life she doesn't reveal all at once. Men are naturally curious creatures. Their minds engage when they sense there is something more to learn, more to uncover, more to understand. When a woman spills her entire life story in the first few days, she unknowingly removes that sense of discovery. She gives him the whole book when he has only asked for the introduction, but when she reveals herself slowly, at her own pace, she becomes someone he thinks about long after he goes home. He wonders what she's passionate about, what she dreams of, what she fears, what makes her laugh. He becomes invested, not because she is hiding anything, but because she is not rushing to give everything away. Men don't bond through information, they bond through exploration. When a man is interested, he enjoys uncovering who a woman is. He likes noticing small details, asking questions, seeing how she reacts to things, observing what matters to her. This process is what creates emotional attachment. If everything is laid out too quickly, he feels no journey, no gradual deepening, no sense of moving toward anything meaningful. But when there are moments of surprise, a new hobby he didn't know she had, a story she shares weeks later, a perspective that unfolds over time, it makes her feel unpredictable in a soft, elegant way. Not dramatic, not confusing, just naturally intriguing. Being unpredictable doesn't mean acting mysterious on purpose. It means you don't center your entire identity around impressing or pleasing him. You talk about yourself with balance. You share your thoughts and experiences without a need for approval. You don't rush to fill silence with explanations. You don't quickly reveal every insecurity or trauma. Instead, you allow things to unfold as the connection deepens. A woman who shares too much too soon often does so from anxiety, wanting to convince a man she's worthy. But confidence whispers. It doesn't shout. It shows up naturally as selective vulnerability, giving the right pieces at the right time. A woman with layers isn't unpredictable because she is hiding anything. She's unpredictable because she has a full life habits he hasn't seen yet, goals he doesn't know about, sides of her personality that appear in different moments. Maybe she's soft and gentle one day, but witty and bold another. Maybe she's quiet until she feels safe. Then suddenly he discovers she's deeply expressive. These shifts make her feel real and alive, not one-dimensional. Men stay interested in women who feel genuine, not rehearsed. This kind of unpredictability makes a man curious in the best way. He starts wondering what she's doing, what she's thinking, what she's feeling. He pays attention to her messages, her expressions, her voice. He becomes more intentional in conversations because he doesn't assume he already knows everything. This also makes him more careful with her emotionally. He recognizes there is depth, and depth demands respect. When a woman doesn't overshare, she protects her emotional space. She avoids giving him emotional intimacy he hasn't earned. She keeps her private world sacred, and that makes it far more valuable when she does open up. Men fall harder for women who allow themselves to be known slowly because it feels meaningful when it happens. It feels chosen. It feels special. And when a man feels like he is gradually discovering her piece by piece, he doesn't just like her, he becomes invested in the journey of knowing her more. 3, reward effort, not words. He says he loves you, good. But does he show it? A man values what he has to work for. Match energy, don't overgive. Most relationships start with beautiful words, but words alone are the easiest part of any connection. They cost nothing, require no sacrifice, and can be spoken without true intention. A man can say he loves you, that he cares, that you matter to him, but none of that means anything if his actions don't reflect the same truth. This is where many women get hurt. They believe the promise instead of the pattern. They cling to sweet sentences while ignoring the lack of effort behind them. And effort is the real currency of love. When you begin to reward actions instead of words, you protect yourself while also shifting the entire dynamic of the relationship in a way that creates real attraction and consistency. A man values the things he has to invest in. When he puts time, energy, and commitment into something, it becomes meaningful to him. But when a woman reacts strongly to words, when a simple "I miss you" or "I promise" is enough to win her over, he has no reason to rise to anything higher. He learns that he can offer the bare minimum and still receive her affection, forgiveness, or loyalty. But when a woman sets the standard that effort matters more than promises, a man quickly realizes he must show up differently if he wants to keep her in his life. Rewarding effort means you mirror what he gives. If he calls, you call. If he makes time, you make time. If he plans something for you, you respond with appreciation. But you don't invest more than he is willing to invest. You don't give more than he's giving. You don't chase, fix, or convince. Instead, you create a relationship where both sides contribute equally. This balance is what creates stability. It keeps you from losing yourself, and it keeps him aware that he must continue putting in work if he wants the relationship to grow. A man's actions reveal everything his words are trying to hide or highlight. If he says he cares but never checks on you, the action is the truth. If he says he wants a future but never makes plans, the action is the truth. If he says you're important but only shows up when it suits him, the action is the truth. When you live by this principle, you stop falling for potential and start focusing on reality. And reality protects you far better than fantasies ever will. This standard doesn't make you difficult, it makes you respected. A man may be surprised at first when he realizes you don't melt at empty gestures, but he will also feel a deeper level of admiration for you. Men instinctively value women who do not settle for half-hearted effort. He may even elevate himself without being asked, simply because he feels he needs to earn your presence. He becomes more intentional, more reliable, more attentive, not because you demanded it, but because you live in a way that naturally requires it. When you reward effort, you also build trust. Words can be deceptive, but effort is consistent. If he keeps showing up, keeps caring, keeps trying without being pushed, you know his affection is real. And if he doesn't, you save yourself from wasting time. You learn early who he is, instead of waiting months or years to discover the truth. A man falls in love through what he invests, not what he says. When you allow his actions to lead and you respond only to what is real, you become a woman who cannot be fooled, rushed, or manipulated. You become a woman he takes seriously, and that is the foundation of a love that lasts. 4. Emotional control is your superpower. When you stay calm, when you don't react to every little thing, you become unforgettable. A woman who doesn't lose herself over a man, that woman is dangerous in a beautiful way. One of the most powerful and rare qualities a woman can possess is emotional control. Not the act of suppressing feelings or pretending to be cold, but the ability to respond rather than react. When a woman stays calm, grounded, and centered, even when emotions run high, she becomes unforgettable. Men are wired to notice emotional tone more than emotional words. They remember how a woman made them feel. And a woman who brings stability rather than chaos becomes someone they feel safe and drawn toward. Emotional control isn't about weakness. It's about strength wrapped in softness. Most people react instantly when something bothers them. They argue, panic, overthink, or try to fix everything all at once. But a woman who takes a deep breath before responding, who chooses clarity over chaos, creates a different kind of emotional environment. Her presence feels peaceful, her tone feels warm instead of sharp, her boundaries feel stable instead of unpredictable. When a man senses this kind of emotional maturity, he instinctively respects it. He realizes she is someone who cannot be easily shaken, someone who isn't ruled by temporary feelings, someone who thinks before she speaks. This makes her feel rare in a world where everyone is quick to explode or collapse. Emotional control also protects you from making impulsive decisions that hurt the relationship or your own peace. Instead of reacting immediately to a late reply, a misunderstanding, or something that triggers old insecurities, you create a moment of pause. In that pause, you choose how you want to respond, not how your stress wants you to respond. A woman who can pause is a woman who holds power. She doesn't text paragraphs out of fear. She doesn't accuse without knowing the full story. She doesn't beg for reassurance when a moment feels uncertain. She communicates with intention, not desperation. This calmness doesn't make you emotionless. It makes your emotions feel more meaningful. When you're upset, you express it clearly and confidently rather than through anger or panic. When you're hurt, you explain why instead of exploding. When you're disappointed, you communicate boundaries without shouting or pleading. A man listening to a woman who expresses her feelings with clarity rather than chaos feels motivated to treat her with more care. He doesn't feel attacked or pressured. He feels respected, and that respect makes him want to do better. Emotional control also creates mystery in the deepest way. When you don't react dramatically, a man becomes curious about what you're thinking, not because you're hiding anything, but because you're composed. He realizes you are not someone he can emotionally manipulate, not someone who crumbles when things go slightly wrong. He sees that your inner world is stable and that he must rise to that level if he wants to be a part of it. Men feel deeply attracted to women whose emotions do not spill everywhere, whose presence feels like a safe place, whose reactions don't turn every small issue into a storm. And something else happens when you master emotional control. You become more magnetic. People naturally gravitate toward calm energy. A man begins to associate you with peace, not stress. He notices that he feels better around you. He trusts you more. He opens up more easily because he knows you won't judge or overreact. Emotional control makes your presence feel like a refuge in a chaotic world. And when a man feels emotionally safe in your presence, he doesn't just like you, he attaches to you on a deeper level because emotional safety is the foundation of every lasting connection. 5, know your worth and don't negotiate it. A man falls hardest for the woman who refuses to shrink. When you stand on your standards, when you love yourself loudly, you give him something rare. A woman he has to rise to love. There is a kind of power that doesn't need to be announced, a kind of confidence that doesn't need to be performed. It comes from a woman who knows her worth and doesn't negotiate it. When a woman understands what she deserves, what she stands for, and what she will and will not accept, she carries herself differently. She doesn't become rigid or unkind, but she becomes steady. She becomes a woman who refuses to shrink herself for a man's comfort, and that alone makes her unforgettable. Men don't fall for the woman who bends until she breaks. They fall for the woman whose value is so clear he rises in order to match her. Knowing your worth is not about arrogance. It is not about acting superior or untouchable. It is about understanding that you bring something meaningful to the table. Your loyalty, your kindness, your intelligence, your presence, your heart. When you know these things deeply, you stop begging for the bare minimum. You stop trying to earn love through suffering or sacrifice. You stop proving your value to someone who refuses to see it. Instead, you wait for the man who naturally recognizes it, who appreciates it, and who treats you accordingly. A woman who knows her worth does not chase mixed signals. She doesn't sit in confusion for months, hoping a man will suddenly decide to be serious. She doesn't cling to someone who gives her crumbs of affection while offering everything to someone else. She doesn't tolerate disrespect masked as jokes, inconsistency disguised as being busy, or commitment phobia disguised as taking it slow. When a man's behavior doesn't match her standards, she does one simple thing. She steps back. not as punishment, not as a strategy, but because she cannot stay where she is not valued. This self-respect creates a powerful shift. Men quickly notice when they're dealing with a woman who holds herself to a higher standard. They know they cannot coast. They know they cannot run hot and cold. They know they cannot treat her casually if they want to keep her in their life. A man who truly wants her becomes intentional. He communicates clearly, shows consistency, and puts effort into building something real because he understands that anything less means losing her. And losing a woman with self-worth feels like losing something rare, something he may not find again. When a woman stands on her worth, she also becomes more selective, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. She understands that connection isn't enough. Alignment matters. She is not impressed by temporary attention or surface-level charm. She pays attention to character, values, effort, and long-term behavior. She doesn't rush intimacy or commitment. She takes her time, observes, and chooses carefully because she knows that choosing wrong costs too much. Her heart is precious, and she treats it that way. Men are drawn to women with standards because standards create structure. A man feels grounded when he knows the woman he's with expects respect, honesty, and consistency. A woman with no boundaries may be easy to access, but she is not easy to trust. A woman with strong standards becomes someone a man can build with, someone he can rely on, someone he wants to protect and cherish. Her worth doesn't intimidate the right man. It challenges him to become better. Knowing your worth changes everything. How you love, how you communicate, how you walk away, and how you allow yourself to be treated. It frees you from settling and opens the door for the love you actually deserve. And when a man meets a woman who refuses to negotiate her value, he sees her as extraordinary. Because in a world full of people willing to shrink themselves, she is the one who stands tall.